And welcome, MJ, to the second session of High Vibe Channeling. And for those of you who are new, you can just put your questions in the chat or that you have a question, and then take turns. And we're going to bring in the inner earth beings. And for those of you who don't know, these are beings who are deeply involved in helping Mother Earth maintain all of her energies and doing their own explorations. And not only are they higher vibrational, so we would react, it would be an unpleasant experience for us to come into contact with them, but also some of them are very scary for us. You go and a 10-foot mantis being shows up at your door, you're not exactly going to invite them in for tea right away. Your first response is going to be, "What the hell?" But we'll get there. Yes, except for Christina Anna. So, but hey, you can always ask them, right? That's why we're here. So let me go ahead and do my permission slip and we'll call them in and see what happens. And thank you all for coming and for watching. And you humans are a decent sort. The particular vibrations of this group is pleasing in ways. If the rest of your kind was like this, we would be much closer to coming amongst you. And we have decided to fulfill our fill in this time. We understood there were opportunities to explore, and it is a welcome, energetic exchange for us. And we appreciate you enabling this opportunity. And the human channeler had given an overview, which was mostly correct. There was much which was left out for we have many roles of our own making, but we, being a loving and interactive sort, participate and support not only where it is needed, but where it is appreciated. For that is how things flow for those not of your kind in those realms where that is warranted or not expected, but part of the plan phased in. The languages are cumbersome for explaining to you those things which you do not have concepts for are tricky, slippery, fraught with misunderstandings. And we prefer not to mislead, for that gets us nowhere. And as on your physical paths, many will end up lost. We prefer to help you find your way and to help find our way amongst you. And you are doing that, although that is not your goal. You are doing that as a species, making ready for the changes which are part of your future time. We are merely along for the ride of our own making. And we are many, and we exist in different realms as you exist in different realms. But we have the pleasure and the experience and perspectives of knowing it. You too shall broaden your awareness. That is part of your path, part of your beckoning forth. The future you had envisioned and endeavor to transform into one which is more agreeable for those of you with open hearts who love freely. You will find no beings encountering you which do not love you freely and which do not support you. They may not all respond in ways which your kind has deemed acceptable. For instance, not only those who have spoken before us this evening, but we as the mantis beings have our own ways and all are not deemed friendly by humans. We are not averse to physical contact. It is preferred in ways, but humans shy away from such contact. Bumping into another is termed rude unless you are participating in those games, which it is expected. That is one example. It will suffice. But it is our hearts, as it is your hearts, which are the prime focus and the connective instruments, which will allow us to peacefully coexist for even once that is enabled, there will be a visceral shock, which shall have to be glossed over bit by bit until acceptance is fulfilled. But first comes awareness, and meetings like these help both sides, although it is all one side. You merely have a limited view. We do not mean to insult. We are merely expressing through your language what you know to be true in this gathering. And we do ask that you treat all creatures on your planet with reverence, and even those you feel the necessity to terminate lives or to express violence towards them, like some of your food animals or your plants. That is distasteful for us. But you will learn better ways as a total race. Some have already learned of them and welcome those changes to come as more align themselves with the respect and caring for all consciousness, which is all divine and necessary for the harmony to play its resonance in its fullest form, performing its greatest honor for the divine aspects which have brought it and all things forth. And while there are many versions of that earth song, we will say, together they harmonize beautifully. We have time for your questions.
Greetings and much love to you all.
Appreciate it.
I would like to discuss two practices that were advised. The first practice, and something that I still do when I think of it, is holding a glass of water, blessing it, and putting love into it and allowing it to go down the sink and follow its path. And the other practice is whispering to the trees with the intent of the messages being heard in inner earth. Could you please give us your view on these two practices?
Our view is not relevant. What do you feel when you do those things?
I feel like there is a lot of magic that is spread outwards and inwards in the earth.
The water will carry that energy. It is a communication device amongst other things. And for those who can participate in its resonance, can ascertain read is not correct, the information of relevance for them. We urge you to do those things which you believe are helpful, for that is the vibratory resonance which will aid you and aid other energies and beings to come to you.
Thank you.
Greetings. Oh, it's so nice to have you here. I have such a special love for the mantid race. I believe I have at least one, if not more, counterparts that are mantids. And one one was came to me as a pale lavender. And she seemed very, very high dimensional. Assumed she was galactic, but I don't know. Maybe she was an Earth. Until tonight, I wasn't aware that there were a mantis race in the inner Earth, which is fascinating to me and wonderful. And then I think I have another counterpart mantis who's involved in a lot of um, the hybrid children genetics aspect of things. I was wondering if you could tap in and maybe tell me anything about these counterparts.
You are in touch with a concept, an energy of a being which wishes to manifest itself in your knowing as one of our forms. It is the guise which your higher self has found acceptable to for its own purposes, we will say. As far as your connections, like you, we exist in all realities. And your ability to bring that awareness in a more knowing form, a greater hint of those will help eventually. As far as those connections, they are not amongst our particular group. We exist on many planetary systems. So we are unable to provide further assistance in that regard.
Of all of the presentations that my higher self could have chosen, can you discern or can you detect why the mantis was what it chose for me?
There is a connection there, but we are not privy to that.
Okay, thank you. Um, I remember at one point you mentioned that you prefer and are not adverse to physical contact. I have had so many experiences, encounters with um, the praying mantis of the earth, the insects, more encounters than I can count, so many. And they've all been very physical. Um, and they've just filled me with so much joy. I just ha love having physical contact with this expression. And I was wondering if you'd like to expound on your feelings of physical contact.
You are frail beings. Such contact would result in injury to you and would not be considered appropriate. And while none of the kinds which will be interacting with you wishes to cause harm, we will have to take special steps to keep our distance to ensure your safety in that way.
What kind of physical contact, even if it's amongst your own kind, do you kind of like to engage in? I presume you maybe
It
don't
is
hug.
not a preference. It is a manner of encountering others in close proximity. There are jostlings about which can be utilized as communications amongst our kind and passing information from one to another without the languages or thought in the way you interpret them. So it is expected amongst our kinds that that contact will occur, and you are not us.
Very true. Do you have a strong connection to the praying mantis insects that are on Earth?
They are their own. They have our influence, a an energetic association, but we are on different paths. We are food for no beings. We have our own explorations and do not concern ourselves with those particular kinds, although we do revere all life forms.
Okay, so so their enjoyment of physical interaction is very different from yours then, from the way you've described. But still, you both have the physical contact disposition, which is neat.
You humans put your viewpoints and perspectives on everything, near everything you encounter. You assume that other beings are out for fun and enjoyment or destruction, when in fact they are always in their moment, doing what is innate to them with their own personal attributes expressed within that overall action oriented responses to the environments which they encounter.
Thank you for that clarification. Could you by chance describe a little bit of inner earth to us?
Hot, dense pressures, a multitude of traverse ways, tunnels. It is highly energetic, and your planet is conducive to it as your energies do not run merely on the surface or in your atmosphere, but all through your planet. And there are portals in your way of thinking or vortexes where energies congregate or converge, which are utilized for communication and travel by other beings like ourselves.
Oh, that is so fascinating. Do you have like an inner sun light source though?
Again, humans and their perspectives being put on other beings. We do not fumble in the dark, if you would say. You must, well, you must not. It is something you have yet to learn. But all beings have an energetic resonance which exists in light and dark areas. That is enough to navigate by.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Thank you so much for this interaction. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming to speak with us. I have a question. Do you have any advice for this group in the upcoming contact or for us personally that would be helpful?
None that has not already been given
Mhm.
from other sources. You all know what you need to do,
Mhm.
but it is a human mental frailty to seek confirmation time and time again to
So true.
ensure you are on your so-called paths. You would be better served to Do what pleases you at all times.
Well, this interaction, I thank you very much because this does please us very much. So thank you. Thank you for coming to speak with us. And I believe um, Angie and Christiana both have more questions. So I will,
This this interaction is taxing on this human.
okay.
We will make our departure and will be amongst you in this way another of your times.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Hmm.
Welcome back, Ray.
That was fun.
That was really neat.
Thank you. Yeah, that's,
They said that they were taxing your energy. Did you feel it?
oh yeah. I mean, I got the headache was setting in
Mm.
and they were doing what they could. But all energies just do not fit together that well. And they make allowances and they do what they can. But it's, I guess, sooner or later that it just accumulates or whatever.
How do you perceive them making allowances? What is that like?
Well, they're all going to temper their energies as much as they deem it's necessary for the safety of any channeler.
Mm.
Because if they can't come through with near what their energetic resonance is. I mean, I think Bashar said that he uses at most 15% of his energy when he channels through Bashar,
Oh, wow.
through Daryl
Wow.
Anka.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he said one time they got up to like 17.5% of their energy. And that's
Wow.
was and yeah, and that took decades for him to get to that level.
So that's what he's at now? He's running at
I
about
I
17%.
I wouldn't want to say. I don't know.
Mm.
So
Is it your understanding that all of these beings that you channel, they've all had experience before with channels? Otherwise, how would they know how to do it? Like
I
they've
have
had
no idea.
practice?
But I would imagine, I mean, they all have access to fields of information that we don't.
Mm.
So, I mean, and they certainly didn't do that for their benefit. They did that more for our benefit. They saw the opening and they said, yeah, we'll talk. But that was pretty much it.
Hmm.
And it's strange because it wasn't, from what I gather, it wasn't just a mantis being. There are other beings and they were communicating through one, and that was the best way for them to express themselves to us.
Ah,
Not that there wasn't a mantis being,
Mhm.
but they might have been communicating to the mantis being as a group, but they were busy doing other stuff. This was like a side conversation, like you're going through your house and you're doing your stuff while you're talking on your phone with your earpiece in.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a lot of pressure on my head, above my
You
orbital
were
sockets, and then on the right side.
you were talking very slowly, as especially towards the end. You were talking very slowly,
Well, yeah,
like it was difficult.
well, they wanted to make sure that they got the right information, but they were also cognizant that, I was in need
Frail
of
human.
a break. Yeah, well, I mean, but they bump into each other. And it's kind of like us doing a handshake or something like that. But, and the way they position themselves, and I don't have a clear picture of this, so I'm giving it to you as best I can. But how they interact when they bump into each other communicates, it means something to them, like it would a pat on the back from somebody, or, I'm not saying it's like a hug or something like that, but, we have a lot of nonverbal cues. We make faces at somebody when we're pissed off or whatever. And theirs is more physicalized for a nonverbal communication. But, a 10-foot mantis being bumps into you and your head splits open on the concrete. They're not going to say, "Oh, well, what'd he tell you?" They're going to think, "Oh my gosh, he's been attacked." No, that was just, they just lost their place of where they were at the time being, or they didn't notice you, or whatever it might be. It's not that they had, malicious intent. It's just they have to be careful. Like, those of us, when we walk in the forest, we're conscious to watch where we walk. We don't want to step on any flowers or turtles or snakes or whatever it might be. And they're not really concerned because, I mean, their normal way of behavior, it's all that is acceptable. So, and they're not ready to come amongst us because we're not anywhere near ready. So we're looking at 20 years or so before they come, before, they're around. And I don't even think it'll be global then. But
But in terms of like physical bu bumping, I was thinking that we have this with the cats, for example. We bump our heads, and that's a great sign of affection. We do this all the time, and it brings me great joy. Like you
yeah.
bump your head, obviously lightly, but this is also like a very affectionate bumping.
Hmm. Yeah, but
yeah,
if they weighed 400 pounds though, it might
Mm.
not be so gentle.
it's certainly neat to think about.
Yeah, and Angie, they did not it never occurred to them why you would want to know what it was like in the inner earth, because they're like, you're never going to go there.
That's why we want to know.
You can't, but we can't handle the temperature, we can't handle the pressures, we can't handle, all of the beings that are going on and the energies that are flowing through. And so they were like humans, you know.
They
And
ask the silliest questions.
well,
Right?
they can no, but they know that humans concern themselves with things that do not concern them. And that is kind of baffling. And that's That's for many different extraterrestrials. That's why we're so quaint.
So it's a curiosity thing. So I guess a lot of other races just don't have the level of curiosity. Because I mean they can tap into all the information. They have it all at their fingertips. We don't. We have to ask for
Well,
the, information.
but again, you're putting human
Well,
perspectives
that's what I'm
on
saying.
other
Yes, it's a
beings.
human
Yes.
thing.
But
Right, right.
like with the hybrid children, if they don't know something, they know it's because they don't need to know it. It's not relevant. They don't think, well, why don't I know about this? That thought never occurs to them. And
But there
it's
is a
not that they're
fine
not
line.
extremely curious.
But I mean, there's a fine line because that's why Source expanded. It wanted to learn new things
There's a
that it
fine
didn't
line
know.
from the human perspective, but not a fine line from the other perspectives.
Hmm.
What
Right.
impression did you get with my question?
What was that?
What impression did you have from them when I asked my question?
Which one was your question again?
I asked about, when you bless water and give it love and pour it
Oh,
in the
well,
sink.
they were just they they view water differently because they know it's conscious and it's an information source and it travels all throughout the earth.
Hmm.
I mean, it seeps in from the surface and there's pools of it underneath. And that, it's an information source. They can tap into that, or any being can tap into it. Whether they drink it or not is something beside the point. I don't think they do, but I don't know. And they were also thinking, that if humans saw them eating something, it might scare them a bit. And look at Anita's face. You can see that. She was like, I don't know, I want to watch that. But, I don't have any details on that, but that was one of the things that crossed in my mind when they were talking, when they were thinking about
It it
what to tell us.
it seems they were saying that they revere all life,
Hmm.
and you know, and not only us humans, but the animals, the insects, even the plants. And what crossed my mind, Ray, I didn't ask this question, maybe I should have, is if you don't want to consume or eat any living thing, what is left to eat? How do you survive? Do they just absorb energy or
Yeah, and
I
that
don't
could
know.
very well be it. I don't know. I don't know that they do eat.
Right.
But yeah, many beings just, they're pulling their energy in from the etheric realm or from the energies of the earth. Or
Well,
so they could bring their food with them. I don't know.
um,
It would have been a good
you
question.
look at the uh, uh, deep water vents in the deep ocean. There's all kinds of life, coral and crab and shrimp and everything. And there's no sunlight because it's so deep, and they get their energy from like the chemical
Yeah.
composition of what's coming out of the vents.
Yep. Like
So
the
that
tube
is the
worms
inner
and
earth.
the ghost
Right,
crabs and those kind of
right,
things. Yeah.
right. So it could be something like that since they're in the
Yeah.
earth, there is a lot of energy in the earth.
Yeah, I mean, there are
So
beings
they,
who survive on sulfur, the sulfur fumes from volcanoes. There's bacteria
hmm
that live on that can handle
hmm
2000 degrees centigrade or whatever.
hmm
And it's like,
hmm
we that and they were talking about frail beings because,
yes.
from many aspects we are.
Oh yeah, we're like paper.
Yeah, I mean, we bruise and we break stuff, and in their world of contact, almost, where it's a regular thing and expected. And
So
they
they're
were,
clearly physical.
yeah, I mean, they were looking at when they were talking about sports, they were thinking about football, and they were thinking, you guys still put pads on when you run into each other to keep from getting hurt.
They thought that was amusing, probably.
It's not amusing, it's just a fact to them. They don't have that type of judgment, I guess, about it.
And that goes to show the differences. Obviously,
Hmm.
they have exoskeletons, so they are a
Yes.
lot tougher. And you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just the difference, which is really neat.
Yeah. And if they lose a leg or something like that, it's not like they're going to go to the hospital or something. They're just going to continue along without it, and they know their body's going to adapt as best as it can.
They might even be able to grow it back if they're higher dimensional.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, another question to ask
Hmm.
whenever they come back next time.
Well, they certainly came in with a great energy. They were saying they liked our energy, and so that was kind of nice
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
start
it was
kick things
open.
off with.
Yeah, and people were expectant, and you guys were paying attention.
Hmm. And we already
And
had
They were very
the love
loving.
going.
Hmm.
and it was a great compliment because they said, like if everybody was like us, then the whole world would be different.
Yeah.
That's a
I'm
great compliment.
I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Yeah, that was a great compliment. So it really kicked off with a great vibe.
Yep. And
And it was funny watching you channeling them, Ray, because you would move your head back and forth and slowly in this, and
Mhm.
it reminded me of my interactions with the mantis and about off
Right?
my on my deck. I mean, I love they're so cool because there's not very many insects that have a neck where they can turn their head and look at
Mhm.
you. I mean, I can't think of any others. I'm sure there's others, but right now I can't think of any others. And it's just so fascinating because they'll hear something and they'll turn to look at their head to look at it, or they'll look at me if I'm talking to them. It was just neat the way you emulated them, I'm sure on an unconscious level,
Yeah,
but it was just so
yeah,
cool.
I'm not
Right,
doing any of those
right.
physical movements myself, at least not consciously. And Heidi, I know you like the inner earth beings. What did you take from that, if you don't mind me asking? I caught her off guard.
Repeat the question.
Oh, no, I said I know you like the inner earth beings. I just wanted to see what your take was from that. I appreciate your opinion.
Well, I also was curious to what how they would describe their environment, um, how they perceive their environment. So I wanted to ask them that because um, I don't know how I'm similar to them or different to them. You know, like, are they energy? Are they physical? They mentioned being in a lot of different realms.
Yeah, they're physical, and
They're physical.
yeah,
So,
and their their realm is cavernous. They have huge areas, and I don't know whether they've been formed or whether they're natural. But, if we've ever been in like Mammoth Cave or something like that, they have
mhm.
huge expanses
Hmm.
where they can, do whatever they need to do.
Do you know how deep they are, Ray?
I, I don't.
We should do a meditation where we go there, you know?
Okay. You want me
Like
to
do a
talk to the
bit.
future Pleiadians about that? But people might break out in sweats. They- and you might feel like you're being crushed.
You can
Huh,
also end up
fan.
somewhere else because I've attended meditations like that, and
Mhm.
we were all supposed to go one place and I went somewhere completely different. So, it just depends on what you need at that time of that meditation. So,
Yeah, we'll call our favorite travel agents and the future Pleiadians, and we'll see where they can take you. Oh,
yeah, that would be fun. But
yep.
it'd be fun to experience it because that's how I feel like, hearing about something, I I put a lot less weight on that than I do at what I what I experience, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, a more tangible experience
Mm-hmm.
where you actually have some of your sensory adaptations involved as
Yeah, or
opposed to,
even someone telling the story of their experience,
hmm,
rather than just saying this is how it is. I when someone says this was my experience and then this happened and that it's and I feel like that's the power of the parable, you know.
mhm.
Many people understand on different levels stories. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I was
Okay.
curious about, and I would have liked to have asked a question. I had a lot going on, so I was listening in the background.
Hey, whatever's best for you.
Yeah.
And MJUOL, and thanks for allowing you into the room. And I
What?
don't know if Alan or MJ wishes to weigh in
Oh,
on this. It's certainly not necessary, but
No, thanks. I'm just surprised that I was able to get in because I was so late.
well, thanks for adding your energy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I just got back from Seattle, so yeah,
Oh,
I don't have much to
welcome
add right
home.
now. Thanks.
You have any thoughts?
On the channeling or
Well, whatever. It's
um
an open forum.
no, I mean I had an interesting dream several nights ago that I interacted with some very small kind of mantis humanoids, but not much to remember in terms of the interaction, but
Hmm.
it was cool. It was interesting.
Okay, thank you. I know, Alan, you unmuted for a second, but
Well, that's interesting timing, huh? Mantis
mhm.
dreams. So recent. I was wondering if they're on this a different
Let
dimension
Alan
than.
go, Angie.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see him there.
I was just going to tell MJ it was great synchronicity because we had just finished the first section, which was completely different, and apparently you knocked on the door just as we were beginning the second section. So your timing was perfect. So
Yeah,
welcome.
and thank you. I'm sorry, Angie. Please go ahead.
No, no, I did not realize Alan was up to bat.
I see all.
Yes, I guess you do see things I don't. The all-seeing eyes. No, I was wondering if they would know anything about Telos because I've had visions and stuff like that regarding that part of Inner Earth, but I know that there's different dimensions to Inner Earth. So
Yeah, and
probably not. It didn't sound like the same environment at all.
well, and um, the labels that we use mean nothing to almost every being that we encounter as non-humans. I mean, they use some of them because if they want to interact with us or, pass any information back and forth in some realistic way, then they have to use the labels and concepts which we understand.
Hmm.
I mean, we all think about simultaneous time and we know that it exists, but we really can't comprehend it because we can't see 10 different realities at the same time that are all relevant and choose between them, let alone a billion. So it's neat. I love it all. I'm learning so much. And thank you all for giving me a place to play.
Thank you for bringing them in. That was great.
Yeah, I'm wondering if what the difference was because they have come through and they channel longer, although I'm not sure how long that they were doing it. But I remember it was a bit rough last time too. But yeah, but at least they had the wherewithal to get out once the headaches really started to set in because it's gone now.
Well, they were so big. You said they were, in the scheme of things, roughly 10 feet tall. I would imagine that that's even taller than the tall whites.
Yeah, well, apparently the tall whites get 8 to 10 foot,
Oh,
but
wow, 10. Okay. So they're up there too.
yeah, yeah, if they showed up on your doorstep, you better hope somebody's saying trick or treat.
And I would imagine both were sort of like groups, right? Because I would imagine they're kind of not collective mind. What is it called? Soul groups. I mean, did you get the impression that the tall whites are sort of a soul group talking to you, or is it just one being?
No, I got the impression that you're thinking like a human.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be the case for the foreseeable future, Ray.
Well, you're trying to categorize all of them,
Well,
and
right. So I'm talking the other way
it's
I can to
just
get my.
they just don't think like humans.
So I'm
And
asking
they,
though.
yeah, and they would have, that we talk about our patterns of behavior, but it's their mode of operation is so far beyond what almost everything that we do. But the only thing that we have in common with them is we know how to love and we know how it feels. But because, they don't have hate or that kind of stuff. And even like some of the reptilians, they don't care about us enough to want to save us from harm. It's not that they intend to harm us, but if it happens, it happens. It's not like they're going out of their way, but they have a job to do and they'll do it or whatever. Not really a job, maybe, just whatever they're choosing to do. But, that we'll learn about all of them. They're all
Well,
different.
in fairness, we're kind of like that too with certain things. We just don't care enough about them. You know what I mean? Things in on the earth.
I know that's another human looking to compare them and put it in a category.
Yeah, I don't think that should be a surprise, Ray. I'm human.
Well, I'm not asking you to change. I'm just pointing it out because I think it's funny.
So it's more obvious to you now because you interact with these people or these beings so
And
much.
that is true. I have learned, through having so many of these beings come through,
Hmm.
their perspectives on humanity. And that gives me a look at not only myself, but how we operate as a species. And the hybrid children have been great at pointing a lot of that stuff out. I mean, stuff that, we take for granted. And
Right. So
they're
you're
like,
merging more towards them. Didn't weren't they saying that about the Sasani that channel people that the channels become more and more like them, the more they or maybe more frequency similar or something, the more they channel and interact with them,
yeah, well, it does anchor more energy in, and, it raises your core vibration every time that you interact with a high vibrational being.
which is expanding your
Yeah,
consciousness.
which is every being that comes through to be channeled.
Yeah, so you're really anchoring in ahead of everybody else with as much interaction as you have with them.
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but
Well, most, the
I have a
majority.
yeah, I have a role. I have roles, and that will help me prepare for it. It also gets me on a ship. So I'm like, yeah, and it gets me into the hybrid children enclave, and it gets me to do press conferences.
When have they given you a ballpark of this ride on the ship?
N No idea.
That's a human question. I know, I
Yeah, and
know.
I have no expectation. They just showed me, you know.
Oh, cool.
I know it is. And I,
Hmm.
I don't have any details of the ship, but I knew I was on one and I was looking at the earth. And it was like, wow, I was going somewhere for a purpose. And that's all that I know. I mean, I get little glimpses here and there, I guess.
I had a dream 2 nights ago where a massive, massive saucer-shaped mothership had come down to it looked like it was around the Arizona, Sedona area. but it had landed and it had let all of us climb on top of it and take us for a ride. It was so neat, but it was just so big. It was a really cool dream. You don't know why you have those kind
Yes.
of dreams, but they happen and they're cool.
Yay.
Tall Whites talked about my ship or mentioned it.
Yes.
And what is your ship, Christiana? I think I missed that.
Kitty.
And they've been fairly consistent with observing you.
Yes, they made that clear. And
Wow.
I'm really happy that my focus on Tetris apparently and my joy and my attracts beings that enjoy participating, and that's very funny.
Yeah. And I can't wait to go back and do the transcripts for this. Simply because, I remember so little, especially the tall whites. I remember more of it because, I've been doing them for almost, well, over 10 months now, off and on. And since they've been coming through semi-regularly for their book. But, the inner earth beings, I don't remember the last time that they came in. I can find out though.
Yeah, I can't wait for the transcripts of tonight too. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, because yeah, they definitely told you to read
Yes, they did. Go
it.
back and read it. Stop making me repeat myself.
Let's see.
It's not efficient.
Right.
Yeah, they were biding their time. They certainly were. Let's see. Um, September was the last time that they came in.
Yeah.
So, yep. And it looks like August was the first time that they came in. That was the tall whites did that mushroom ceremony with me.
Wow.
They said that that would enable the inner earth beings to connect with me, as well as other things, made me a portal,
Oh,
whatever that means.
Wow.
I'll say. It
That
still freaks me out.
so you already did the ceremony.
Yeah, it was like last August, I guess, somewhere around in there.
That is
One
so
of my
weird.
favorite moments to revisit when Ray was like, "I'm a portal, I'm a portal." So now, now I'm thinking, Ray, I'm a portal, Heitman.
Yeah, two different beings came through and verified that. I was like, wow. Yeah, Chris came through and he says, well, they effectively made you a portal. I'm like, what?
What does that even mean?
It means that other beings can enter our physical realm through my energy field.
Oh,
They can
wow.
tap into my aura. It's the way I understand it. That may be an
Wow.
oversimplification, but it's like I'm the train station and they're the train cars, and I have no idea who's on the cars. I just know that there's things coming and going that I'm not aware of.
Oh my gosh.
So how is that different? Like, aren't all channels portals?
But I guess that's one way of looking at it. But as well, since you channel too, you know when a being is talking with you or wants to come through or is communicating with you. But
Yes.
for the portal aspect, I have no idea who I had of any comings or goings related to the portal.
Well,
None.
maybe this insight would help. So sometimes you can sense a being, maybe like 3 feet from you, or
Mhm.
um, I don't know. One time I was at an event and there was a channel. She was pretty new, and I kept I knew there were 3 people on stage with 3 beings on stage with her, and I knew that it was two masculine and a feminine energy. And I kept, as the channel was talking, I kept looking at three different places on the stage. It's almost like they were taking turns talking. So there's that kind of um, thing, and then the other is when you actually feel the being, like you feel um, energy in your body, within your aura, within your
Mhm.
energy field, which your body is also inside your energy field.
Mhm.
So that, like you might feel the pressure in your eyes, or you might feel the, I don't know, like uh in your arms you might feel um
Some kind of sensory. Thank you, Ellen.
yes. Thank you.
But
So I'm
but the
wondering if that's kind of the difference.
but one of the things that's kind of important in that is I don't care. I
Hmm.
don't care who comes and goes, and I don't care if I detect them or not. Um, and I guess that maybe that's part of not putting forth any resistance or anything like that. I don't know the mechanics of it. I don't know how it works, and frankly, I just accept all of this stuff and respond to it the best I can. It all freaks me out. I mean, if I got the channel one time, it just really it really cheers me up, and just I think it's just amazing. And to have all of these different beings that come through and the wisdom that comes through, and I'm just in awe. I mean, it's because I consider myself a really smart person. And I'm very well read as far as the stuff that, I'm interested in. But I couldn't think up all of this stuff that comes through. I couldn't give personal advice and dip into other people's lives and energy fields and stuff like that. And a lot of the beings, they don't go into a lot of specific details, but they give enough details so it's pleasing to the attendees. You feel like your questions have been addressed. Except for maybe Angie, it's never been addressed enough, but that's just the way she looks at it. She's just always on a quest for more and more knowledge.
That's right. That's right.
So then
Always.
maybe a portal doesn't mean that you necessarily have to feel anything or perceive anything.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like a hose. It's just there and stuff's going through it.
So sometimes are you getting information and without having any kind of indication that there's a being near you or in your field?
I've never had an indication that I was ever alone for decades. I always have beings with me. I
Hmm.
mean, I go to
Okay.
make any decision and I get advice almost every time.
I know. I
I mean,
sometimes.
from what to wear, or do you really want to open the fridge? That kind of stuff. Or
And
you'd be a lot better if you fasted for 3 days, that kind of stuff that comes
That
all
tone,
the time.
the tone of
so
voice.
it's like,
One time I heard, okay.
so it's like you have 10 nagging wives, Ray?
No, I honor them all and I listen. But they help me with stuff. Like
They do.
I came inside, and there was a bug on my phone. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to take this bug back outside. And so I was able to keep the bug by keep it on my phone until I got outside. And I said, okay, now you're free to go. And he's like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, you're going to go because
Oh,
I'm going
you
back inside. So I had to huff and puff and blow that little bug off my phone, but there's always stuff coming in. I find rocks that call to me. I found one today. It called to me, and I take it and I put it on my pineal.
Mhm.
And it said, if you are thinking peace and you believe you are peace, you will bring peace to others.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then I threw it off to the side of the road because I got the message. I didn't have the
Right,
impetus to bring it back home with my hundreds of other rocks. But,
right.
but I knew it called for me. So I told Allie, I'm like, hold on, Allie, I got to go back and get that rock. And then, that happens on a regular basis in animals. And I just focus on them. What message do you have for me? And they tell me. It's a wonderful life.
Yes.
On that
Hooey.
note,
To hear more about
Well,
Christiana's dream about her, um, about the spaceship, if you want to share.
Thank you,
um,
Anita.
good night, everyone.
good night, Anita.
Appreciate you.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. Well, I have a ship. It has a lot of purple, even if outside it may be silver.
A silver ship.
Yeah.
They saw
Uh,
silver.
and
Hi-
apparently, I have a lot of company inside it, which is the way I like it.
Yes, best way.
And Heidi, are you available to channel for us this month?
Oh, it's April already. Let me look over my
Okay.
calendar and all the Thursdays and the Sundays and see
Okay. You know
what's
how shy
happening.
I am, so.